Get it? I taught Mary Jane to lay down when Miss Dinky's trying to wrestle her, just to give Miss Dinky a little more advantage. Although Miss Dinky she really bites her. She really lays into her with those little bitty teeth. But Mary Jane don't mind. Well, she does. She don't mind, but like anybody, animals or whatever. You know, stuff does hurt eventually, you know, and or not just eventually, but sometimes they're not as painful, or things aren't as painful, and then sometimes, you know, they just are, you know. And she tolerates it just to play and stuff, but then she'll get a snip or whatever, and she's like, oh no. And Miss Dinky, though, she just has an attitude anyway. I mean, she loves to play, etc. But she, for whatever, the Chihuahua, the Pug, the Pit Bull, the Lab, whatever is in her, makes her a little more ornery than normal or whatever, I guess. But Mary Jane, she's a medium-sized dog. We can see here. She's oh gosh. Well, last time I checked, she was 48 pounds, and for whatever, she will get on your lap or whatever, like she's a little dog. And then Miss Dinky here, she's a small dog, and she's about 20 pounds, 18, 20 pounds. And she thinks she's a big dog. You know, she thinks she's just so big. But Miss Dinky now, she's going on 2, and when she was 7 weeks, she was 1 pound in the palm of my hand. It's still hard to believe. She was just like a little head. You see how she's filled out, and she's filled out, and of course she's not malnourished at all. You can't see a rib, but she's really literally muscle from eating and running with the big dog, you know, here. She's like a little muscle. And Mary Jane's kind of a picky eater, but of course she's not malnourished either. But Dinky will almost eat anything, just about. She will eat. She eats more than what Mary Jane will eat. Some stuff Mary Jane's like, nah, and then Dinky I'll eat it. But Mary Jane, her drive, I think keeps her at like her muscular athletic build, because she has a high drive, you know. So her brain and her body and stuff is always moving. It's always, oh, she's always burning fuel, burning calories, you know, burning you know what? Miss Dinky, she'll get Mary Jane's ear or her neck in a spot that Mary Jane's like, no, no. Yeah, I had to show her, or to lay down so little Miss Dinky can have kind of a, that's caca, that's somebody else. So Mary Jane, she has a full-blood mom and a full-blood dad, and then Miss Dinky, her mom is two breeds, Chihuahua Pug, and then her dad is Pit Bull Labrador, and odd mixture. Her poor mama is so little, is littler than her even now, and the dad is just huge. And how they came about it was just yeah, it was a sight. When I first saw her mom and dad, before her mom got pregnant, dad's kind of huge and mom's again littler than her, and she was laying on dad. His name's Blackie, and mom is Brownie, and she was laying on Blackie, Blackie was laying down, and she was literally, you know, on top of him, laying on top of him, and it was cool. I was like, oh, that's cool. Look how had the buddies, because, you know, I've seen the videos and stuff where like dogs or little chihuahuas or little dogs are like riding on other dogs, you know, and I wanted to get a picture, but as soon as me and Mary Jane started passing, walking by the house, they got up, you know, and started barking because there's a dog, you know, because there's a dog passing. So I didn't get the picture, but then I passed, and old Blackie was on little Brownie, and I was like, oh no, because it was wow, it was funny because he's so big and she's like a midget, a little person or whatever, and so but at the same time it wasn't funny because again she's little and he's a big dog, and so so then though we pass, and I don't see Brownie. I see Blackie, you know, because he comes out and wants to bark at Mary Jane, of course, or any dog that passes. And I didn't see Brownie, and my first thought was, oh no, he hurt her, you know, doing, and I thought the worst. I thought, you know, that was it for poor little Brownie, and then some more time went by, and I don't see Brownie, and my thought was, yep, she must be, poor little girl, poor little dog, she must got ruined big time, and then lo and behold, here comes Miss Brownie, and she got the teats hanging. So of course now, because of that, I know she had puppies, you know. So I was like, oh wow. So I see Jose. It's because it's his house, it's his dogs, and I see him. He's in the back, or whatever. I see him, and I'm like, hey, she had puppies? He was like, yeah, and she had 8. And I said, at the time, seriously, I was looking for or wanting to get a male. A little partner, a little play buddy for Mary Jane, and I was told, because she's a girl, to get a male because the females will bicker and whatever. So Well, he wanted $200, and or that's what he told me. But he said, yeah, $200, and I was like, well, the shelter is cheaper than that, and they have shots and everything already, and for whatever surgery, all kind of stuff, with the shelters, and adoption thing, and and when he said $200, I was like, yeah, I can't afford. I'm poor, and I told him I wanted a male, because of the, he's like, yeah, and I didn't tell him, what, $200, you're crazy. Well, again, maybe it was just me he was trying to charge $200, but I don't know. So, the puppies they're gone, or they're going, they're not having any more puppies, and so or they're giving them away, selling them away, and he said somebody was going to give him back a male if I was still interested, and I was like, well, yeah, but again, in my head, I'm like, oh shit, I can't afford $200, and so then I see the male, the baby, the puppy, and he looked like a pug, like a boxer, kind of like Mary Jane's pug face, or Miss Dinky's pug face. Look at that, and he looked cool, he looked tough, and I was like, oh, and then he got a girl back, a female pup, and she looked just like mom, and but she was a little lighter color, and which was cool, and then then we're passing, and Jose stopped me, and he says, hey, I want to give you the runt. And I was like, the runt? And usually runts, they kind of don't make it, well, whatever, and live long. He goes, yeah, she's always just sitting there just whining, just crying, and then I started thinking, oh, well, he wants to give her to me, or because she's a runt, and because she's a little crybaby or whatever, and I said, well, how much? He said, because it's a girl, and I'm like, I don't want a girl, and he said, no, I want to give her to you for Christmas, and this was like right at November, and I was like, we're right at the beginning of December, and end of November, and I said, oh yeah, and then he brings her out, and again, she's just this little tiny thing, she's just this little. Again, she was like a little teacup chihuahua, or she was just in my hand, or that, I don't know that at the moment, but you can see visually she's just tiny. And we were on our way home though, and I was like, well, let me see, I'll let you know. So we were going on our way home, so we got home, and I just kept thinking about that little baby that he was like, you want her for Christmas? And I was like, and I just kept thinking about her. And because she looked like she had the little pug boxer type face, already, and she was just like a little head, with the big flappy ears, and I just kept thinking about her, and then I told Mary Jane, I said, Mary Jane, I'm gonna go get that puppy girl, and Mary Jane, she was like, looking at me like, what? And I left Mary Jane. I went down there and I got her. I was like, okay, I'll take her. And he gave her to me, and 7 weeks she was 1 pound, and now she's 18 months, and 20 pounds, and going strong, she's going strong. She wants to fight big dogs and other dogs and people and things, and now we pass the house still where her family is, and then the humans, Jose and his wife and kids. We passed there, and now there's mom and dad and brother and sister, and none of the kids look like dad. Dad, he's supposedly, or this is what I was told, dad is pit bull Labrador. Black lab, long hair, Labrador or whatever, and he looks like a long-haired black lab. And mom, she's Chihuahua pug and looks like a Chihuahua, kind of like a mixed Chihuahua, of course, but she's little and looks like a Chihuahua. And then sister looks like mom, but a lighter shade of brown. And then brother looks like Miss Dinky here, except he is twice her size, just below Mary Jane's size. But he looks like Miss Dinky, but he's big, and again, none of them look like Dad. None of them look like a black lab or even pit bull, except for kind of the puggish boxer face. But again, mom's part pug, so that's But we passed there, and she sees her family. They don't get out of the fence, and they don't interact and stuff. My two or those four, but they see each other through the fence. But through the fence, even Mary Jane, come on, Dink. Through the fence, even there's still mom now. Mom knows. Mom's like she'll kind of whimper and be sniffing towards Miss Dinky. Come on, girl. Come on. Dink. Dinky. What are you doing by the garbage? What are you doing by the garbage? But now mom will whimper and stuff, like that's my baby. And but dad's like he's like mean kind of or whatever, aggressive with her, through the fence. And then brother and sister, they don't acknowledge. Hey, what are you doing over there by the garbage again? Hey, trash baby, nasty girl. I can't even whistle. I need a drink. And Mary Jane, she's Belgian Malinois. What do you say? 3/4 or whatever of Belgian Malinois, and then 1/4 of Australian. And it wasn't clear, but I gotta look at the paper because when I see Australian, I just see Australian, and shepherd, Australian shepherd is what it was, but she just resembles more like of a Kelpie, but regardless, by the DNA or whatever, she's only 1/4 of Australian, so. Give me your ball. You left it over there? Come on. Get the ball. She's coming. Get the ball. Girl. Will you let me have it? Girl, you may throw it. You gotta let me have it. What are you doing? Come on. Hey. Mary Jane, her breeds, both of her breeds, supposedly, or whatever, are supposed to be more of an aggressive breed, especially the Belgian. But, and then Miss Dinky, just period, her. But Mary Jane, she's submissive or whatever. She's not aggressive at all. She can be, but that's not how she is. Miss Dinky, on the other hand, she's aggressive. She's the aggressive one. So when Miss Dinky's aggressive towards Mary Jane submits and is like, okay, let's play. But they're both jealous. And Mary Jane, I had her first from 8 weeks to almost 3. And Miss Dinky from 7 weeks to almost 2. So I had Mary Jane first. So Mary Jane, of course, she's like, hey, what is this? Or was always like, what is this? And she's accepted her, but she's like, look, I'm the big dog. Even though, again, she's like, but I'm not aggressive. And this little thing is aggressive. So she's just like, she'll get in like a mood and be like, okay, just leave me alone. But Miss Dinky, again, she wants to push her, and she wants to push the boundaries, and she wants to push Mary Jane. Like, come on now. We're sisters. And like that right there, you see, Mary Jane is sniffing that cap, and Miss Dinky moves her out of the way, and is like, hey, let me get in there. And Mary Jane, she's just like, okay. Mary Jane will take her toys. She'll take Miss Dinky a toy or a bone, all kinds, period, and give it to her. I've seen it. She'll take her a toy and say, "Here you go," and give her the toy, or whatever. And then, of course, Mary Jane's eating. Miss Dinky will root right in there, and she'll eat with her. Well, it's the other way around. It's not like that. Miss Dinky has a bone or something. She's not wanting to share. She will growl and argue with Mary Jane like, this is mine. And except for food. If Miss Dinky's eating food or drinking water, they can share. But again, as they're sharing, Miss Dinky is she'll try to push Mary Jane out of the way. She's like, okay, it's my turn now, move.